Hey folks, I hope you're okay. Welcome to this week's episode of the Mind Muscle Connection, and I'm just going to be talking for a few minutes this week because I had a really interesting topic that I wanted to talk about. But yesterday an incident happened and it just made me stop and think for a minute, and I really wanted to just come on and talk about what was happening in this incident, how I perceived the situation, how this other person perceived the situation, and how that was going to affect not only that person's day-to-day living but also the rest of their life as well. And it was really quite powerful for me, so I wanted to share that with you. So setting the scene, I went to the driving range yesterday morning here in Texas, and the weather was gorgeous. The sun was nice and it was out, it was nice and warm, but it wasn't to the point where it was too hot that I couldn't be outside. For me, if it gets anything like 90 degrees, and I can't be out for too long, I really struggle with the heat. So it was really nice to get up and get some food and go to the driving range and get out on the grass and just be in the sun and hitting some nice golf shots. And don't get me wrong, I was hitting some very bad ones as well, but it was a case of it was nice just to be there and hitting shots. And probably about a third of the way through my golf balls, a gentleman, not the next bay to me, the one behind, came up and started hitting some shots and basically just picked out his driver straight out of the bag and just started swinging his driver around, and then started hitting shots with his driver, and then went on to go into some irons and hit some wedges, and then was back onto his driver again. And pretty much every shot, or every third shot, every second shot, was just a cuss word. It was a negative. It was putting himself down, and I could hear this person doing it to themselves. And each time that they were doing it, I was like, okay, maybe it's just one bad one, or it's a couple of bad ones. But it was starting to get to the point where it was every shot. And it was almost like the more that he cursed at himself or cussed himself, the worse he got. And he couldn't see the fact that because he was creating such a negative state, he wasn't controlling his emotions. It was forcing him to play worse. And whether that's through tightness, whether that's through lack of concentration, there's probably a whole host of different reasons. And right towards the end of my basket of balls, I was just coming back down. I was hitting a few wedges, I was cooling down, and he hit a shot and he really started to berate himself. And I just stopped and I just looked at him, and he glanced at me and kind of realised that he was that loud that everyone could hear him, and he just went quiet. And I just had to stop and think that it was Sunday morning, it was a gorgeous day, he probably didn't have to work, he'd got nothing much going on with his day, that he could go to the driving range, and the whole time that he'd been there, that he was so negative with himself, he was just getting worse and worse and worse, and getting more aggressive with himself. And it kind of hit me that it was a sad state of affairs, that someone needed to take their day and create it into such a negative. So when I left, I actually was driving away, and I was saying to myself how grateful I was for the fact that I could just go to the driving range and play golf and hit shots, some good, some great, some bad, some really bad, but still have the ability to do it, still have the ability to recognize that that was something I was grateful for and I was happy about that I could do. And I got home and I just really took that moment to just say, you know what, it was such a nice time at the driving range, because sometimes we don't necessarily appreciate everything that we should. So I guess if I'm saying anything for this podcast, is make sure that you're taking that time to appreciate the little things that you can do day to day in your life, even if it is just something as simple as waking up, kissing your wife good morning, playing with the kids, going to the driving range and hitting a few shots, because we haven't been able to do it for such a long time, so now it's able to do that. And I know that there's going to be a lot of golfers that are going to rush to get on that first tee when they can play golf, and not warm up or not take it for granted. I think is probably the biggest thing that I would get people to do, is just stand on that first tee and appreciate the fact that you can go and play golf and relax and enjoy it. Because if you can relax and enjoy your golf, you're probably going to find that you'll play better, but you'll play better and you'll enjoy it more. So thanks for checking this episode out. I really do appreciate your time. I know it's a short episode compared to what we had last week with Richard, and make sure if you're listening to the podcast, you go ahead and subscribe, leave us a rating and review on iTunes. If you are checking this video out on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. Please do go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back next week with another Mind Muscle Connection. But make sure you're checking out the other series that we've got on the channel as well. And I'll see you all next week, folks. Peace out.